Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's begin by chanting prayers to our Guru and Gauranga Mahaprabhu to bless us in our endeavor to learn something about Lord Krishna and his words spoken in Bhagavad Gita. So let's begin our class session by chanting Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथावितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशे तारिणे नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दायिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमढ़ाय श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्धाप सिद्धांत ध्वांत हारिणे नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्य मूर्तये विप्रलंब रसाम्बोधे पदाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौराविर्भाव भूमिस्त्वं निर्दिष्टा सज्जन प्रिया वैष्णव सार्वभौमाः श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकम् हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जगन्नाथ बदेश्वर ब्रह्मा की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल Okay, so let's begin our session today. And what we'll do is we'll launch a quick uh, poll for all of you as mentioned, and I'll launch the poll. All of you, please be ready. just have two questions. You can answer the questions and then we can, yeah, I will try to check the volumes. Devshi, I'll try to speak a little loudly. Just let me know if in case it's continue to be lower, because I checked the volume. It said a lot of people said it was okay. So maybe you can adjust the volume at your end also, just to see if that works. So I'm going to launch poll. It has two questions. Please quickly answer these two questions, and then we can move forward in the session. I have launched the poll. You can answer this hopefully. We'll give 2-3 more minutes. Hopefully, it's not very difficult.
बस पीप पीप घूमने कोई भी जाओ पीप 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 लेके चलो मेरे को
Yeah, I'll just, yeah. Please stay on mute, all of you. And please rename yourself with your first name, last name after the poll. I want to know who all are attending. We want to talk with you later, take your questions, discuss any issues that you might have. So 725116, this kind of a name doesn't help. Also, iPhone 14 doesn't help. Motorola doesn't help. We want to know. We want to know who is attending the class, and we want to engage with you as well. So please rename yourself with first name, last name, preferably. I'll end poll now. We have about 63 responses. So I'll just stop the poll in 1 minute more. Okay. So the two questions, I'm sharing the results. Hopefully you're all able to see what's there on the screen. Two questions that please select right answer as per your understanding. This is our only life. We existed in past, we exist now, and in this life. So there is a past and there is a present life. We exist today in this life, and we will continue to exist forever. That can be another thought process. So some have selected that, and then we existed in past, we exist today, and we will continue to exist in future. That's one of the fourth option which has got the highest votes, 41 out of 66. And so that's a this is a so we'll find out what's correct, and I'll not give correct answer right now, but this seems to be the preference by many. So let's go to the second question, that choose from the below. With hard work we can achieve anything. That 2 out of 61 have chosen this option. With intelligent hard work, we can achieve anything. 6 out of 61 seems to be believing in this philosophy. With best effort and God's mercy, we can achieve anything. 33 out of 61, more than 54% have chosen this option. And nothing is in our hand. We have to only depend on the God's mercy for getting anything. That's about 20 out of 61 have chosen this option. Thank you everyone for participating, and we will see what are the right options are in due course of today's session. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining. Those who have joined late, we mentioned that we will do a poll at the beginning. The poll is done. We'll share the poll later in the group so that you can take a look at those questions. Meanwhile, we will we will get kick started with our session. We have a this is the longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, that we are going to discuss today. And we will have a lot of concepts to be discussed. A lot of newer concepts will be introduced, hopefully. And hopefully you're able to see the screen. Yes. And in the course of this today's session, you might we will give you a lot of practical. We'll try and give you a lot of practical side of the philosophical concepts. The practical side, there will be a philosophical concept that will be introduced and discussed, and we will also relate it with our life day-to-day dilemmas that we have, or issues that we have, problems that we have. And we may not get time to discuss of all of them today, but that can be a good food for thought for you all to take it back from today's session, and then we can connect offline with us, and we can discuss some of those issues if any one of those are troubling you in any way. So with that, let's get started with today's session. We are discussing today chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, contents of Gita summarized. One of the, as I said, longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita. We thought of doing some group discussion activities as well in between. However, I'm still contemplating whether to do that or not, considering the length of the chapter and the different concepts that we need to cover. So we just want everyone to stay focused, give these 2 hours to Lord, and I'm sure, and by His grace, by His mercy, you will gain something out of this session at the end of these 2 hours. And anyone who joins later, please stay back until the end. Even if you get distracted, get a phone call, come back. Come back. Use the same Zoom login ID so that we can track your the Zoom can track your attendance correctly, and hopefully you will be benefited out of these sessions. We'll do a quick recap. Lot of devotees requested for a quick recap of chapter 1, which we discussed last Sunday. So we'll do that in a very quick way, and then we will move forward to the today's content. Chapter 1 we discussed last Sunday. How we discussed in by way of introduction to Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada has written, preface that Prabhupada has written, and setting the scene section of Bhagavad Gita, which Prabhupada has written. Now, these 3 sections contained the prepare our background for learning Bhagavad Gita, especially introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Talk about how we should consider Krishna at least theoretically. Prabhupada writes, at least theoretically, consider Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then approach Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita these are words of God. So these are not ordinary speech given by somebody, which we can understand by our own intelligence. So if God is all powerful, if God is omniscient, He knows everything. If God is omnipotent, He can do anything, and God is omnipresent, He is present everywhere. If such powerful person speaks something, and if we can understand that with our own intelligence, then we become equal to or superior to that God. But which is not the case, which means we can understand God only when He chooses to reveal Himself to us. And His choice He will exercise, seeing our endeavor, how humble we are, how submissive we are, how eager we are to learn the secret of Bhagavad Gita. That's why Bhagavad Gita is called Rahasyam Yo Etada Uttamam. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells to Arjuna that I'm giving you this knowledge, this great secret, topmost secret, because you are my friend and you are my devotee. Bhakto sine sakha cheti. So therefore I'm revealing this knowledge to you. It is not meant for it is meant for everyone who chooses to become a devotee of Lord. And a devotee cannot have a challenging mood. A devotee must be humble, must be submissive to his subject of devotion. So we need to be humble and submissive to Krishna. And at least theoretically, we should accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in last session, we elaborately discussed why we should do that. We'll not get into that today, but kindly go through the PPT or the recording for the last session, and you can go through that session in detail. The chapter begins, or the first chapter, the entire Bhagavad Gita begins with an inquiry which comes from Dhritarashtra, where he's asking Sanjaya. He's not participating in war. He's sitting in a palace. His palace is Hastinapur, and Sanjaya is narrating his the what is happening on the battlefield, uh, so that uh, so that Dhritarashtra can understand what's happening. He gets real time updates in our language. He gets from Sanjaya, and so that's the first verse, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, and that is followed by Duryodhana's speech given to his, it's a pep talk given just before the war starts. Duryodhana is trying to give pep talk to his chief general of his army, Dronacharya. He speaks primarily to Dronacharya, but he addresses everyone. That you all should not feel fearful because we have our army is so bigger than that of Pandavas, and we have the great warriors, the greatest of all time warriors like Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya on our side, and all Kauravas themselves were ferocious fighters, and he make a list of all those who are who are on the side of Kauravas are prepared to fight for his side. And then he said, we should not at all be worried. But you give protection to Bhishma because he is old. And hearing all this, Bhishma doesn't respond. Doesn't respond by words, but he doesn't speak anything. But he blow his conch shell. He pull out his conch shell, shankha, and he blows it. Blow it. The blowing of shankha, blowing of conch shell is a sign that you are ready for fight. The war has now become inevitable, unavoidable. Now, seeing seeing Bhishma Dev blowing his conch shell, Krishna, Arjuna, and other Pandavas and all the big generals in the army, they pull out their respective conch shells and they blow. And that sound of collective sound of blowing of conch shells, that uh, that shatters the hearts of Kauravas, and that's the sign of victory for Pandavas. Hanuman is sitting on the chariot of Arjuna. That's a sign of victory for Pandavas. Lord, personality of Supreme Personality of Godhead, personally present on the side of Pandavas. That is another side of sign of victory for Pandavas. And seeing all these conch shells are getting blown. Arjuna, in the middle of all this, Arjuna is asking Krishna to take his chariot in between two armies so that one final time before the war begins, for one last time, Arjuna wants to see armies from both sides who all have come to fight because he's aware that this great battle, if it were to happen, a lot of these warriors probably will be dead at the end of that battle. So he wants to take a final look at all of those. Krishna is at present as a chariot driver for Arjuna. It's a menial work, but being a Bhakta Vatsal, he accepts order from Arjuna and he feels great pleasure doing so. And becoming, even if he has become a driver, he's still Supreme Lord. He's still Supreme Master. That position of his doesn't change because he's willingly accepting role that of a driver uh, for serving his dear devotee. Arjuna, Krishna then drives the chariot and takes it in between the two army, and he goes and stops in front of Bhishma and Dronacharya, the two most beloved personalities for Arjuna, the two personalities who are very extremely close to his heart. He didn't stop that chariot in front of Duryodhana and Dushasana. And this is, our Acharya says, this is crooked nature of Krishna. Krishna hits where it hurts the most. Why? Because he wants to test Arjuna's will, test his test his determination, and also he wants to orchestrate, he wants to arrange for Arjuna to get bewildered and ask questions so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. Now, had that chariot been stopped in front of Duryodhana and Dushasana, Arjuna would not have felt the emotions that he felt by seeing Bhishma and Drona. And he might have become more angrier, and then he would have said, let's not waste time, let's begin the war right now. And then but Krishna, being a crooked person, he does the opposite. He does take that chariot and stopped it, paused it, park it in front of Bhishma and Drona, so that Arjuna is now seeing Bhishma and Drona, and tears come in his eyes. Our Dinbandhu Prabhuji from Vrindavan says Krishna is a very crooked fellow. Radharani is very simple. Radharani is very pure hearted, very compassionate, very merciful. But Krishna is not simple. Therefore, we need to approach Krishna through Radharani. When our request goes through Radharani, he accepts. Otherwise, he is very difficult to please. So that is his nature. So Arjuna, now seeing Bhishma and Drona, realizes that now this is the final moment, that if the war were to happen, he will have to kill these two great personalities. Now his anger and the revenge, anger for taking revenge for all the wrong things that Kauravas have done for him, uh, disappears suddenly, and he's confused. He's confused. Krishna says, there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 says that viparitani cha Keshava. Arjuna is saying, मैंने जो सोचा था उसके बिल्कुल उल्टा हो रहा है मेरे साथ. मैं सोचा था I'll be very happy that finally that moment has come where I will take revenge for all the wrong things that Duryodhana and his gang has done with us. They sent us to the forest for 12 years. My mother suffered because of that. They cheated us in the gambling match. They tried insulting my wife. They tried killing us on so many occasions. And for all the wrongs that they have done, we have never retaliated. We have always been, Yudhishthir Maharaj has always been forgiving, and he didn't, he never really took offense. And but this is the moment. This is the moment when the war will happen. Nobody will stop me from taking my revenge against the Kauravas and all the wrongs that they have done. But instead of that rage, instead of that anger, Arjuna is now experiencing compassion. That is it really necessary for me to kill so many people who have assembled just to get a kingdom, just to win a piece of land? Is that fair? What about enjoying? If my Pitamaha is not there, if my Guru is not there at the end of this war, how will I enjoy? Even if I win the kingdom, how am I going to enjoy without my beloved people? Also, will this not give me sinful reactions? I am killing my own relatives and friends who are less powerful than me. Will it not give me sinful reactions? And what happens to all the women and children who are at home? Who will look after them? All the adharma will spread because of me, because of my desire to win that small kingdom. I will put the whole population into adharma, and that leads to indecision. Arjuna, keeping aside his famous Gandiva, unable to even stand on his feet, he sit down in the chariot crying. For a Kshatriya to refuse, to say that I'm refusing to fight is worse than dying, worse than death. And Arjuna was not an ordinary Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most famous, most ferocious warrior of his time. He single-handedly had defeated the entire Kuru army, the same Kuru army, um, when they were coming out of the 13th year of Ajnatavas. And the same Arjuna is crying. Is not saying that I can't even stand on my feet. That is my condition. And the condition is not bodily weakness, it's a mental weakness that is recognized. Sanjay Vacha. Sanjay said that Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. This brings us to the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. The description, the acronym that we will use today is Gita, sorry. Gita has four letters, Gita. One G stands for Guru and absolute necessary. The verses 2.7 up to 2.7. I, identity. Who are you really? Krishna, this is the first lesson that Krishna is going to give to Arjuna, and that will happen from the verse 12 to 30th. Uh, Please forgive for the typo. It's 2.12 to 2.30. And two duties, Gita, two duties, material and spiritual. We'll discuss those in the verse 31 to 53. Then Arjuna will ask a beautiful question. And in response to that, the rest of the chapter will happen from 54 to 72. We'll probably not do, it's already 11:27. I'm mindful that we need to finish by 1. We might get extended a little bit. Don't stop, don't leave the session. It's going to be super interesting and hopefully super beneficial. So don't go for recordings. I mean, recordings are boring, but if you can just stay back in the session and attend the entire live session, and then ask questions if you have. The first verse which Krishna speaks that comes in 2.2. In the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't speak anything. In chapter 2.2, Krishna is asking, Kututsva Kashmilamidam Vishame Samoposथितम Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirti Karam Arjuna. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. Krishna is giving a pep talk to Arjuna that what's happening with you? Why are you behaving in this way? You should have been ready to fight. Now Arjuna, Krishna only has uh, Krishna has himself put Arjuna in the doubt. But so it's not that Krishna is is unaware, but he's waiting for Arjuna to ask right questions before he can begin his instructions. The first section we'll explore is Guru, absolute need for spiritual progress. Now Arjuna is speaking that when Krishna chastises him that why all these impurities have come upon you. You should be you have come here for fighting, and now you are saying I will not fight. You are crying. What's wrong with you? You have never been like this. So in response to that, Arjuna is saying that how can I counterattack with arrows in battle people like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? I should be worshipping these people, and you are asking me to shoot arrows at these people. How can I do that? And he's saying it is better for me to go and live in the world begging than live at the cost of life of such great souls. I'll have to kill these souls to win the kingdom, and then I will have to. So it's better for me to go and beg, rather than kill these people and win a kingdom. Now he's saying, I don't even know which one is better, whether winning is better or losing is better. It's like the baller in the final over of a World Cup final is asking the captain that should we win or should we lose? I mean, it's no brainer. We all play to win, and you should be trying your best to win. Why is that a question? Because he's confused. He's saying if we lose, that will cause one type of effect. But if we win, the opposite team, they will cry. They will suffer. They will, their countrymen, they will suffer. So is it is it what is better? Should we make them suffer or should we ourselves suffer? He's saying, I can't even decide what's right for me. Arjuna is considering himself to be in a lose-lose situation. So we have win-win situation. This is a lose-lose situation where Arjuna finds himself, and then he does what we all need to do going forward after having learned Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna speaks a beautiful verse. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yat shreyasya nishchutam bruhi tanme shishyaste ham shadhimatvam prapannam. Arjuna is saying, now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Weakness of mind. It's not a bodily weakness, it's a weakness of mind. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Pruchhami, I'm asking you, Vam Dharma Samudhocheta. Dharma has multiple meanings, and the meaning changes in the context in which the word is used. That's the speciality of Sanskrit. So, dharma, as it is used here, means what is my prescribed duty? What is I'm supposed to do? What is it that I'm supposed to do in this condition, in this situation? Please tell me in certain, and I must soul surrender to you. So the Arjuna who started at the beginning of chapter 1 as the master, as the one who is sitting in the chariot, and Krishna as a servant. Now the role reversal has happened. Arjuna is accepting Krishna as a guru and asking him to instruct him. Very beautiful verse. We should all try to memorize, these beautiful verses from chapter 2. Arjuna is confused about his duty as a strongest warrior in the Kuru dynasty. uh, Arjuna is strongest means others are weaker than him. So, as a Kula Dharma, his job, his prescribed duty is to protect weaker members in the family, not to kill them. But as a Kshatriya, his duty, his dharma was to fight against irreligion. And in the case of Kurukshetra war, irreligion was on the side of Kauravas, and Pandavas were on the side of religion. So, as a Kshatriya, uh, it is duty of a kshatriya to fight against irreligion, and that Arjuna is supposed to do anyway. So there are two dharmas which are conflicting in the mind of Arjuna. Should I follow Kula dharma or should I follow Kshatriya dharma? And if I were to choose Kula dharma, then I need not fight. I should not fight. If I to follow Kshatriya dharma, I should fight. And then which one is superior is what Arjuna is asking. Arjuna is asking to Krishna. Uh, so we should also do the same in the cases wherever we find ourselves in a confused state of mind, and those confused these moments of confusions come often in our life, just like this. Consider these statements. Read these statements carefully, and we'll not discuss any of these statements, but these are our confusions. This can be our confusion. These are few examples of confusions that we will experience in our day-to-day life. Simple thing. Should I eat veg or should I eat non-veg? Should I eat onion garlic or should I eat prasad only? And why? That can be a confusion which should pop up in our mind. Everyone eats everything. All my friends, they smoke, drink, eat whatever they want, party, and probably seems to be enjoying. Should I do that? Should I not do that? What is harm in doing it? What will I gain by not doing it? Why should I not do it? These are the questions that can come to our mind, should come to our mind. We shouldn't follow anything blindly. We should neither follow Bhagavad Gita blindly, nor we should follow materialism blindly. Materialism means living life only for the purpose of sense gratification. That is materialism. So neither that should be followed blindly, because all our Bollywood personalities, all our famous sports star, all our business tycoons, everyone in the society, all my relatives seems to be doing it. I shouldn't do it blindly. Neither I should follow Bhagavad Gita blindly. We can ask questions. We are allowed to ask questions and seek answers. And that's what we should do when we study Bhagavad Gita. I see many Babas, many gurus and in the society. Every corner of street can have one Baba, one ashram, one temple. So many gods. Whom should I believe? And how should I worship them? How can I become successful, earn more than my friends and neighbors and relatives, so that people can get jealous of me? Seeing there was a TV ad, Onida, or the ad tagline was "Neighbors envy, owners pride." I get happiness when my neighbors become envious of me, and that was the low level of happiness that people were promoting through advertisements. So, is that what should I do? Should I be in that rat race and become rat, or should I should I pursue some other choices? How do I understand the whole thing that's happening with me? And then for that, we should have devotee or guru in our life to seek advice. We may not have Lord Krishna himself present in front of us to whom we can surrender and ask these questions. But fortunately for us, we have Srila Prabhupada books and Prabhupada inspired devotees to guide us. And how will they guide? They will not guide uh, out of their own whims and fancies. They will guide basis scriptures. Tasma
Krishna Prabhu, you're on mute.
What you
Prabhuji.
need. So that is
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, we lost your voice for a few seconds. Couldn't hear you.
Hare Krishna. Is that better?
Yes, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is this better?
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
we can hear you properly.
Yeah. So we were discussing the last point. Did I manage to cover that? Was I audible there? 16.24.
No, Prabhuji.
15 seconds we lost you. Yeah, 15-20 seconds.
So what I was saying that these are the questions that can come to our mind and should come to our mind. As I was saying, we should not follow materialism blindly, or nor we should follow Bhagavad Gita blindly. We should be asking questions in both the cases. And we don't have Lord Krishna in front of us to ask these questions. But we have, we have Srila Prabhupada books, and we have devotees who are living their life according to the instructions of those books, like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can go to these devotees with these scriptures and ask for advice. And then when we get convinced, we should follow that advice. Lesson 2, identity. Who are you? Why is this important? The Krishna is now going to speak the knowledge about spiritual nature of living entities. That the living entities are not their bodies, but they are spirit soul. The Adhyatma, as it is known as it is generally utilized term, Adhyatma starts with Atma, knowledge about the Atma, Adhi Atma, and the spirituality begins only by the knowledge about the spiritual nature of the living entities. So that is what Krishna is going to reveal. Krishna speaks that Ashachanya Shochatvam Pradnya Vadansha Bhasase Gata Suna Gata Susha Namu Shochanti Pandita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Krishna is making a very harsh comment on Arjuna that you are pretending to be like a pandita. You are pretending you are trying to speak like a pandita, but you are speaking like a fool. And Arjuna may start wondering, is when I'm trying to say that I should not kill Bhishma, and I am worried about his death, Dronacharya's death, and generally death of all the people. What is wrong in that? Then Krishna says this, that natve vaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaivam na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. Now there is a explicit dialogue and there is a subtle dialogue. Now after speaking the 11th verse, Arjuna is thinking, am I worrying about unworthy people? Are these people unworthy? Or saying Krishna, Dronacharya is unworthy of worry? Bhishmacharya, my brothers, are unworthy of my worry. All my relatives and friends, they are definitely, I consider them worthy of my worry. I should be worried if they are going to die today. So why are you saying this? So immediately Krishna speaks this verse, that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, and nor in the future shall any of us cease to exist. Which means all these people about whom you are now worried, Arjuna, that you will kill them and then they will cease to exist. Their existence will get extinguished. Krishna is saying that will never happen, because never was there a time when they did not existed. So they existed in past, they exist today in the current bodies, and they will continue to exist in future eternally. So that is the striking statement made by Krishna. And then he speaks, immediately follow that up with a beautiful verse. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar praptir dhiras tatra munyati. That as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. What is saying? As the soul, embodied soul, continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Arjuna is not sober. That means Krishna is saying you are not sober. If you were to be a sober person, you would not have got bewildered by this change. This change is constant. So from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul is also changing body. Our body was different than when we were small children. In our youth, the body is different, and when we become old, our body will be different. However, the soul is same throughout all these bodies, and since the body is body, so it has recollections also of what has happened, what he has done in the childhood, what he has done in my youth, and what he has done in the old age. So this is the practical demonstration of what's happening. People die and people take birth again, and people go through animal species, they come to human species, and again go to animal species. So this is practically unstoppable cycle of repeated birth and repeated death. Repeated birth, and after birth, everyone is experiencing old age, disease, and death. And after death, everyone is forced to experience birth also. In the course of this repeated birth and repeated death, sometimes you go higher and sometimes you go lower. So higher species are within human forms also. There are 4 lakh species, and above human forms there are demigod, species of demigod, and lower are the animal or the birds or the insects and the plant species that are there. So our movement is continuously happening within this Brahmanda. Sat asat yoni janmasu purusham prakriti sohi bhunte prakriti jagunam karana guna sambhosya sat asat yoni janmasu. Sata means higher species, and asata means lower species of life. Janmasu, you continuously taking birth in the lower and higher species of life. Further, Krishna is explaining now through beautiful verses about the characteristics of this soul. This soul, how is this soul? What is this? What are its characteristics? And so he says that this is again 20th verse. Na jayate mrete va kadachit nyayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana hanyate hanyamadi sharire. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. So you're worried about killing these people, but the soul has no birth and no death. The soul was never born and soul will never die. He has not come into being, does not come into being, or will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So even if we'll kill the body, the death of a body, death occurs to the body, not to the soul. Soul simply moves to another body. How? Just like a person, when I'm wearing white kurta today, I remove and throw this white kurta and wear a blue kurta. Just like I put on the new kurta, similarly, soul will accept new body by giving up the old and useless body. Now, soul can never be cut into pieces. You are worried about killing these people, but the soul cannot be killed. The bodies cannot be protected, and soul cannot be harmed in any way. So soul cannot be cut into pieces. They can't be burned, can be moist, or can be withered by the wind. The one who has taken birth is sure to die. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvo janma mritasya. So, and the one who has died is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. What is happening here? Krishna starts his instruction of Bhagavad Gita by talking about something very significant, something very important. That you are not this body, you are spirit, soul. Okay. Is voice still issue?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let's see. Let's proceed. So concept of soul is now being introduced by Krishna in the discussion. And a soul, so we exist at three levels. So there is a gross body that we all can see, feel, touch. There is a subtle body which includes mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego. And there is a soul. So the soul has these two additional covering on top of it. The soul is covered first by subtle body, which includes mind, intelligence, and ego. And on top of subtle body sits our gross body, which is made up of 5 elements like earth, water, ether, air, and fire. Now, the soul is like a person sitting inside the car, and the one who is driving the car. And the soul is a spiritual entity. Soul does not get mixed with matter. Soul is the foreign component in the material world. Soul is the foreign alien entity in the material world. The soul is supposed to utilize this subtle and gross body for fulfilling its desire. So soul doesn't get mixed up with the body. Soul remains separate, independent. And the soul has certain characteristics. The soul is, Krishna revealed it in the 15th chapter, that Mamaiv Ansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That the soul is a separated part and parcel of Krishna. Separated part and parcel of Krishna. Means soul is separated from Krishna. Soul has the same qualitatively, we have the same qualities as they are there in Krishna also. Because we are his part, just like a drop of ocean also has salt in it, and the ocean also has a salt in it. A sun ray has heat and light in it, and the sun also has heat and light in it. But the quantitatively we are different. A sun has significantly large quantity of heat and light, whereas a sun ray, a single sun ray may also have heat and light potency, but which is very, very minute, very, very small in comparison to what the sun possesses. Also, as long as the sun ray is closer to the sun, the potency is prominent. As soon as the sun ray comes closer to the earth, that potency becomes weaker. And when it falls on the earth, that potency almost vanishes. So Sat means eternity, Chit means full of knowledge, Ananda means ever blissful. So these are the potencies that we see in the Krishna also, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. And the same potencies are there in soul also, which are separated parts of Krishna. However, the body is opposite of the soul. Body is temporary, body lack knowledge, and body is miserable. The difference between living body and a dead body. So there are living body. Living body means when the soul is present inside a body, the body will show 6 symptoms. There is a birth, then there is a growth, there is a maintenance, there is a reproduction, and there is a deterioration, and finally there is death, destruction. So these 6 symptoms are demonstrated by body when the soul is present inside the body. When the soul is not present, so this mobile phone is also made up of the same 5 elements of earth, water, ether, air, fire in different proportions, in different quantities. And this phone, if it falls down and develops a crack in it, now phone cannot try to heal that crack on its own. This maintenance is missing when the soul is not present. Why? Because the soul is not present inside the phone. So when the soul is present inside my body, and if my hand develops a cut, the soul will try to heal himself. Our body will try to rectify himself. So that is missing. Reproduction. When I keep two mobiles next to each other, I will leave them like this for 1 year. They are not going to come up with the third mobile. These two mobiles will probably stay as they are. However, when the soul is present and two bodies come together, they unite together, they can produce a third body. That is, a child can be born. So reproduction can happen only with the presence of the soul. Third thing, maintenance, reproduction, and growth. So this phone will not grow no matter for how many years I will use it. It will remain of the same dimensions as it is. But we experience human bodies grow when the soul is present. Initially, we grow big and later we grow weak. But our growth is constant. Growth of human cell, it's a irreversible fact. That's why we experience aging, and we also experience old age and death. When the soul is not present, the three symptoms are still demonstrated by all the matters. This phone was created once, by manufactured once. The moment the phone is manufactured and sent out in the market, it is depreciated, it is deteriorated, and finally someday this phone will get destroyed also. They destroy, and then probably it will change form. but that is constantly happening with all matter, be it this building, be it my laptop, be it a phone, be it my clicker, the glass using which I'm drinking water, or the table on which I'm keeping this laptop. So everything will follow this cycle, except when the soul is present inside a body show 6 symptoms. When soul is not present, body will show only 3 symptoms. Let's understand the concept of soul in more detail. Dehino is the one who is possessing the Deha. And then that is that one who is possessing the Deha. We need to understand how do we understand that the soul exists inside our body also. This is a practical knowledge, because this is spoken to Arjuna on the battlefield at the moment, which is most crucial moment. So it's not just a philosophical knowledge to be discussed in old age. No, it is urgent, the most urgent knowledge to be understood today, if not tomorrow. It can't even wait for tomorrow. So it's the most urgent knowledge. That's why it's spoken on the battlefield. So let's try to go deeper in the concept of soul. Logical understanding. How can we logically understand that inside our body also we have soul? So Srila Prabhupada, in his early days of ISKCON foundation, he established ISKCON in New York, and then second temple came up in San Francisco, and there he used to visit often and preach, visit different places and preach to people. So one day his disciples organized his meeting in school, but they were all wondering what Prabhupada will speak with the school children. Prabhupada went, and Prabhupada said, no, never mind, we'll speak to the school children the philosophy, the same philosophy. And he went and he asked for the most intelligent boy to stand in the school. There was a school assembly where all the children from all the classes they assembled, and then they sat. And Prabhupada started speaking. Prabhupada asked for the most intelligent boy to come forward, and one boy came forward, and then Prabhupada started asking him some questions. Show me your head. What is this? Pointed towards the head of the boy, and then boy said, my head, my hand, my shoulder, my leg, my body. And then Prabhupada kept asking, and that boy kept replying. When boy was wondering why he wanted the most intelligent boy to come forward and give these answers, any idiot would have given these same answers. Why am I so special? Then Prabhupada asked him something different later. Prabhupada said, if you say this is my hand, my head, my foot, but where are you? The boy became confused that he never probably thought about that. And he says, the moment you say, this is my hand, you're separating yourself from your hand. This is the moment I say, this is my kurta, I'm saying I'm different than my kurta. Can you point me to you? When you say your hand, your leg, your body, where are you? Who can you point me? Where is this you? And the boy was silent. Boy was, I couldn't answer anything. And then Prabhupada explained the point that what you are referring to, my, the one who is the reference to my is the reference to the soul. Let's move further. Proof of soul's existence. When a person died, we say he passed away. Now, who has passed away? The body is right, the person is lying right in front of you. We say passed away with reference to a soul. So indirectly also, we are referring to the real person inside a body. The body is lying in front of us, but everyone is experiencing acute pain. Why? Because their attachment was not with the body. It is expressed through body, but it is not with the body. It is with the person who is inside that body, who is occupying that body. And when that person leaves the body, we experience pain. We say he has passed away. Who? The soul has passed away. We need to understand this more deeply. Dr. Henry Monsen, professor of anatomy, he found out, he did an analysis of human body, and then he found out that human body is mostly water. And a 60-pound person, there is calcium, apart from water, there is calcium, phosphate, potassium, sulfur, sodium, magnesium, and there will be copper, iodine, and salt, iron, copper, iodine. The total cost of all these material ingredients put together in the quantity in which they are present inside our body can come to about 210, including GST. But are we really bunch of chemicals? I don't know. She's one famous actor in Bollywood who later committed suicide. Beauty queen at one point of time. What happened later? No more beauty queen. Nobody is now calling her a beauty queen. Chemicals are the same. We just talked about the chemicals of the body. When the soul left body, and now, if you check the chemical composition, it would be the same. If we are nothing but a bunch of chemicals, then the same chemicals are present in this body also. But there are no feelings. There is no desire. This body, it cannot now express any desires. This body cannot think. Who thinks? Who expresses desires? The soul, not the body. No movement. This body cannot move. And no consciousness. The body cannot feel, cannot express feelings. Chemicals are the same, but same body, but the soul is now gone. Dehino. Let's understand this concept deeper, because this is one concept basis which the entire Bhagavad Gita stands. It's a foundational concept. That's why it's spoken right at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Let's discuss the proof of soul by discussing the reincarnation, out-of-body experiences, and near-death experiences. Now, how do we understand if anybody is saying that they are reincarnation? If tomorrow some child, 2-3-year-old child says that she is or he is reincarnation of a famous personality who left her body, his body maybe 2-3 years back, then how are we to understand? Can anybody claim anything and we just have to accept it? No, the scientists use profound methods before they conclude if a case is fit to be considered as a reincarnation or not. Scientists do a lot of due diligence before reaching such conclusion. What are those? Remembrance. Any person who claims himself to be a reincarnation or having lived having past life memories will have remembrance, and he should be able to narrate those past life memories accurately. Recognition, he should be, when exposed to the situations, to the people, to the places of past life, he should be able to identify, recognize things and people. There would be birthmarks. There can be birthmarks and birth defects, which could be associated with the cause of their death. And there could be phobia or behaviors which are significantly uh, notable, and which does not have any relationship with the current life of that person. So these four things are the probable caution taken by scientists before they conclude if anything is a can be taken as a case of reincarnation. Caution is taken against fraud for quick fame. Anybody who can declare himself as a reincarnation of so and so can become famous. So one has to be extremely cautious before taking anything like this, before accepting any case like this. Information should not be generally available. If today in the era of Google, practically a lot of information can be available. So even if I give some information about some past person, there could be a great possibility that a lot of that information could be available in public domain, or it can be expressed via guesswork. So these cautions are taken before any conclusions are drawn for reincarnation. We'll do a couple of case studies for reincarnation. James Leninger is a case of reincarnation where it was extremely difficult to obtain information by normal means. What it means is a kid was born, and from the age of 2, he was started getting nightmares. Nightmares, and he used to speak, he used to get scared, he used to wake up in the middle of night, and he was born to American parents. American parents who are Catholic, believed in church, but church or Islam and Christianity does not believe in the reincarnation. It does not believe in the soul has a second life or the continuous journey. Soul is on a journey. They don't believe in all that. So when he started revealing his nightmares to his parents, they didn't took it very seriously. But later, when that grew, they took him to a therapist, and when to him he revealed that he was a fighter jet pilot in his past life, and he had very clear remembrance of that life, previous life. He had extraordinary knowledge of fighter planes and played exclusively with those fighter planes only. Now, none of those family members, his parents, his mother, father, or any of their relatives were in army, and I mean, they had no connection with the army. They were professors. They were living in completely different part of United States, but this child, despite of having no exposure to to Air Force, had extraordinary. He knew everything about fighter planes, as if he's been always using those fighter planes, and he played exclusively with them. Later, when he revealed to a therapist that he was killed by Japanese in World War II. He was on a mission. He was flying with his co-pilot, and he went for bombing in one particular area, and they were hit by a missile from Japanese airplane, and he died in that crash. He doesn't remember what happened to the co-pilot, but the plane got crashed and he died. And now he had very clear remembrance of that. When the therapist took him, they took him in under controlled environment to the places where he claimed to have lived in his past life. He identified and moved in those places as if he's been living there for a long time. He knew the names of people who were there, who are still there, and his co-pilot was alive. So he was brought in front of his co-pilot, and then he actually recognized him. He behaved with him as if not as a 5-6-year-old child behaving with an elderly person. He behaved with him as if they are buddies, and he claimed. All his recognitions were extremely accurate, and therefore that became a proven case study of a soul living, getting another body. And there are hundreds and thousands of such cases. Even one case will prove that the soul traveled to another body. It's not exceptional case, but there are hundreds and thousands of such incidences are documented and available for us to figure out. Shanti Devi, will look at another case. Born on 11 December 1926 in Delhi, in small locality. At 4, when she was 4 years old, she started speaking that she lived in past life. She had a past life and she was a wife of Chaube family in Mathura. At 6, she gave detailed information about her death, how she left her previous body during the childbirth. And then she was again under controlled environment. She was taken to Mathura. Then she got down at the station, and then her husband's brother was called on the railway station by deliberately. And then she immediately offered obeisances as one would in a typical North Indian family to husband's elder brother. And she recognized him that he is my husband's elder brother. Therefore, I had paid obeisances on the railway station itself. Then she was asked to show directions to her home, and she got down into Tanga, and then she showed perfect direction. She immediately stopped in front of her home. Then she entered. Her husband was there, and she recognized him. And the 6-year-old girl behaved as if a woman would behave by seeing her husband, and then she dealt with her children in the same way as a mother would embrace a child. She was and all those children were very big by now, but they were much greater in age than her, but she was dealing with them just like a mother would deal with her children. And she revealed in the close discussion that how they conceived a baby. They had physical weakness, they had arthritis and many other medical issues, and despite of that, they managed to conceive a child after many attempts. And that during the childbirth, she died. She left her body, and she revealed such information which was extremely intimate, which was really not available, which was not known to anyone except for the couple who was in that relationship, and she could reveal it. And that was again considered to be there are no other explanation possible other than saying that that's a case of reincarnation. Near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences. During surgeries, there are a lot of instances where a patient claimed to have seen the surgery, and not only seen, but also repeat what doctor said. Patient saw that surgery from the above, and he also saw what all happened, and then the Caesar went missing, and then next day when the surgery was over, the same sister came searching for that Caesar, and the patient pointed that you kept during the surgery, you kept the Caesar there, go find it there. And the nurse got shocked because he was in coma, he was in complete anesthesia, and how could he possibly know that they kept Caesar there during the surgery? And he said, no, I saw it from the above. I was witnessing. I also knew what you were talking with each other. And many such instances are documented. These are out-of-body experiences which get documented. And then the statistics says that 11 to 14% of the average American population who are mentally, physically healthy have had OBEs. Medical Journal has published enough research in ND was with impeccable scientific credentials. Research on eternal soul by 30-year-old surgeon Biglaw. So this is just to bring us to a conclusion that we are not the body that we see ourselves in the mirror, that you see yourself in the mirror. We are spirit, soul. We are all Atma, and we are spiritual nature. We are driving this car of body, but we are not the body. We are spirit, soul. Now, this is a fundamental understanding that we need to have in order for us to progress in the spiritual journey. Spiritual journey will give us mental peace. It will bring us happiness. It will bring us mental peace. It will give us knowledge, mental peace, and happiness. And none of that is possible unless we understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. How could we apply this knowledge in our day-to-day life? What is the connection of this knowledge and my life? My own self-image, for example. We all have self-image about ourselves. Some of us think they are good looking. Some of us think they are bad looking. Some of us think we are very intelligent. We have very sharp memory. I can do many things. I can do multitasking. I'm good with technology. I'm good with coding. I'm good with mathematics. I'm good with science. I'm good with art. And something I'm not good with anything. I'm good for nothing. I'm very pathetic person. I'm a miserable person. I'm just a failure. And some are good in sports, some are bad in sports. We all have some self-image of ourselves. What the concept of soul has to do with that self-image? How do we understand ourselves with reference to this new knowledge that we have acquired, that we are actually soul? We have what we have today. We could be good looking, but not necessarily in our next life we may get the similar good looks. We may have a bad looking body. So we should understand something more. We should go deeper to understand why I have been given a good looking body, if at all I have been given. Or if I'm given bad looking body, why am I given bad looking body? Because I never asked for it. None of us choose to be born in a family in which you are born today. None of us choose to be born in the families of Sharmas and Mishras, or none of us by mistake get birth under a flyover in the Mumbai city, where practically constantly getting exposed to heat, rain, and traffic, with no home, no food to eat. Why would somebody get birth there, and why would somebody get birth in a decent family? Why would somebody have horrible looks and not even have one eye, some limbs of body missing? And why somebody may be born with beautiful features of the body, not only just complete body, but with extremely beautiful features? What that soul has done differently to get that benefit? That is the question that we should be asking. And that knowledge of soul has to be utilized in that way. What am I? Education, my job, my social status, my country. I'm Indian. I'm a Maharashtrian, proud Indian. I'm proud Maharashtrian. I'm proud Mumbaikar. I work as a CFO in my company. I'm chartered accountant. Now all these things are a designation of my soul or my body. Because if these are designation of my soul, they should come with me in my next birth. Or, but that's not the case. I will be sent to KG if I take another birth again. None of the boy claim to be born with a qualification that he belonged to in his previous birth. So whatever we possess in the current life, none of this will be brought forward or carried forward to the next life. And that includes my bank balance, my wealth, my property, my desires. What about my desires? What about my dreams? So these things also, I have some desires, I have some dreams today. And, I will be making an attempt to fulfill those. But are these desires beneficial for the journey of my soul? If I am soul, how my dream of visiting America once is going to help me in any way? What is beneficial for the soul? What is beneficial for car? Good maintenance and filling petrol. What is beneficial for the body? I need to give food and maintain this body in a healthy condition as much as I can. Not allow it to get caught with diseases. But what is beneficial for my soul? I don't know. I simply don't know I didn't even knew that I'm soul. What to speak of thinking about what's beneficial for me? So, so the soul, knowledge of soul will bring us to many questions. That knowledge that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, is not meant for giving up our prescribed duties. should not result in us saying that I will do nothing now because I'm soul, I am eternal. But the spirit by nature is eternal and is indestructible. Always want to gain knowledge and search for happiness. We must continue to perform our prescribed duties attached with the body because that is what we will have to anyway do. We will be forced to do. So knowledge of soul should not result in renouncing work. Krishna will advise that in 2.14 that we must learn to tolerate experiences and of happiness and distresses that we will get while performing our duties, knowing fully that the duties are temporary and we are eternal. So while we should be, Krishna says that don't just act for the body, also act for the benefit of the soul. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama paino nityastam sthitikshastu bharata. That the Shita and Shita Ushna, that winter and summer seasons, and Sukha and Dukkha, both will all will come in your life. While you are discharging your duties, these are unavoidable. So you will get those. And why? One that we will find out later section of Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna is advising Arjuna that you must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Arjuna was disturbed. In a disturbed state of mind, he's asking questions to Krishna. Now Krishna is saying you should tolerate, you should learn to tolerate without being disturbed. Now this brings us to the third section of today's topic, that two duties. We have spiritual swadharma and we have material swadharma, constitutional duty and conditional duties. So every living being loves someone. We all, every soul, the loving someone is a nature of soul, is a quality of soul. So soul wants to love, soul wants to serve. Loving and serving, these are innate qualities of soul. If you don't find anyone to serve, you will find a dog and you will serve that dog. So loving and serving are eternal duties of, is just a nature of the soul, is to love and serve. But what we serve, the objects of our service are all temporary. The objects of our love are also temporary. And they all get terminated with death. Whereas God is eternal, soul is eternal, and loving relationship between the two is also eternal. That eternal love and service to God is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means eternal love and service, eternal loving service to God is called Sanatana Dharma. Temporary and false relationships of this world that are finished with time, which are those? Spouse-centeredness. If you don't have God in the center of your life, you will search for some other centeredness, someone else to be at the center of your life. And who all that can be? They can be many. So one example can be spouse-centeredness. It's nothing wrong, but it's not permanent. It's temporary. Family-centeredness. You may want to live for the purpose of your family. That is better, but again, family members will come and go. So again, that's a temporary. Money-centeredness, money will come and go. You may not even able to earn what you want. Work-centeredness, workaholic. We have a famous term nowadays. People proudly say that I'm a workaholic person. When you don't have Krishna at the center of your life, you will bring someone at the center of your life, and that can be work. No point in becoming a workaholic because work is also temporary. The work you are doing today and your next life will be completely different. So no point in unnecessarily endeavoring. Possession-centeredness. I love having sports car. I love having watches. I love possessing latest technology, so on and so forth. So again, lack of God, lack of Krishna in the center will mean you will put some other nonsense in the center, pleasure-centeredness, or enemy-centeredness. Dog-centeredness. Again, if you can't find anything, you will become dog conscious. You will become dog conscious. So why become dog conscious? Why become conscious of something which is anyway temporary, which will not benefit you for your next life? Why at all invest our time, effort and our whole life in pursuing something which is not you, which is completely useless? Why not do something meaningful? The question, knowledge that I'm spirit soul is good, but it's forced to act according to the occupation of the body. The question is now, how should I act? Now, because knowing that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, will not solve all my problems. It will still make these 107 people, 107 devotees hungry when it will be 1 o'clock. Uh, so 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 what am I supposed to do? Am I not supposed to do anything? My soul may not need food, but body requires food. So what am I supposed to do? To get food, I'll have to work. And to work, I'll have to acquire some skills, I'll have to get some education. So if am I not supposed to do things? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to act with this knowledge? So we will be talking about different concepts. We'll just give a quick quick glossary of those concepts that we will discuss from now onwards. Is yoga. Now this term will come in Gita often, Bhagavad Gita. That yoga means opposite of yoga, which means separation. So yoga means union, to unite with God, Sri Krishna is yoga. That is yoga. Different yogas are explained in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita starts with Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and ultimately Bhakti Yoga. There is a hierarchy which we will talk about later. The activities, now we know that this knowledge is required but not sufficient. It does not solve all my problems. My problem still remains as long as I have a body, and body will remain as long as I have a life. All of us are born with certain expiry date, and until that expiry date comes, we cannot die. So we should do something to maintain our body. Those activities, whatever we will do, are called as activities. So those activities are bifurcated into these three broad categories. Adharmic activities. Adharmic activities are sinful activities. Krishna says in 2.33 that if you don't do your prescribed duties, you will incur sin. And in 49, Krishna says, that please stay away. Don't perform abominable or adharmic activities, as they will lead to sinful reactions. Then, higher than adharmic activities are dharmic activities for sense enjoyment. This is called Karma Kanda section of Bhagavad Gita. So instead of I want to enjoy the world, I want to enjoy my senses, but I don't want to do it in a dharmic way, but I want to do it in dharmic way. So I don't want to steal and eat. I want to eat, but I want to pay and purchase and then eat. So that is a dharmic way. There's a legal way. Now, this dharmic way is also not ultimate or the most perfect way of acting. So above dharmic or above dharmic is paradha or a devotional service. Now, devotional service also happens at two levels. One is performing activities for self-purification. The devotional service and for like including hearing and chanting, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. So these activities are performed for the purpose of self-purification, and then performing activities for the pleasure of Krishna. That is paradharma. That is for paradharma at a higher level. So self-purification is lower, paradharma for pleasure, only doing things for the pleasure of Krishna. That is higher than self-pleasure, than self-purification. So this is the construct of the activities, different types of activities that we will all be acting upon. How to act in this world. Now, Krishna has given answers to the explicit questions asked by Arjuna. But Krishna during the course has also answered many questions which are not asked. Like in this section, when the 30th, the first section of Bhagavad Gita ends and the second section begins, there is no inquiry by Arjuna that if I am soul, if I am spirit soul, I am eternal, I am always happy, and there is no death for me, there is no, my nature does not change, and if I'm that, then should I really work? What is the point in working? Aham brahmasmi is a good knowledge to have. that I am as good as God. In qualitatively, we are same, but I am Parabrahmana Asmi, which means I am not Supreme God. So should I act? Should I not act? So that could be the question that can come to Arjuna's mind at the end of the first section of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna has completed description and characteristics of the soul. And so many wonderful characteristics that he explains about the soul, thinking which Arjuna may wonder that is he supposed to act or is he supposed to not act? And then Krishna, hearing this unasked question, subtle question, Krishna started explaining the next section of Bhagavad Gita, where he's now explaining the two type of duties that are there. This is like a conversation between husband and wife. Suppose husband come late from home and from visit a friend and then come late. Now wife may not immediately start questioning him, but she may simply remain silent, go back to the kitchen after opening the door, letting her husband in. She go back to the kitchen and start her working without uttering a single word. But now the thudding of the vessel is louder. The vessels are making more sound as she is working in the kitchen. Dan, dan, dan. Husband understands what's happening. He goes to his wife, and start explaining. So no question is asked, but he is giving explanation. कि मैं friend के घर पे गया था. As soon as I entered, I saw Bumrah was bowling, and it was just last 5 overs were there. My friend, and as soon as I entered, a wicket fell. My friend said, "Oh, you are so lucky for our team India. Please sit down and watch the entire match. Only 5 hours are remaining anyway." And then to make India win, I sat down. I sat down, then I watched the presentation ceremony. I watched who got the man of the match award, and then I came back. I did it only for the sake of India's winning. I never wanted to sit there. Otherwise, I could have come maybe half an hour earlier. Now, wife is listening to all this. She said, "I never asked you why you're explaining." Husband says, "I know what you're thinking, and that's why I'm explaining." And then the conversation goes on. And probably all those who are married on this call probably would have heard or would have witnessed a lot of this time, many of this time, or those who are yet to get married will have experience of this soon, hopefully. But that is how Krishna has also answered many unasked questions. That aham brahmasmi, should I not work? Krishna does not want his friend or devotee to get drifted from the right path. So he immediately does the course correction. Karma Kanda 2.31 to 237. Arjuna is identifying with his body by fighting as a Kshatriya, he will be happy. That Krishna is now asking Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya, you are in the Kshatriya's body in this birth, and your job is to fight against adharma, against irreligion. So if you refuse to fight, you cannot attain happiness. So even if you think your body, you should still be fighting. Therefore, Arjuna is now defeating Arjuna's second argument of no enjoyment. That if you don't perform material prescribed duties, you will be getting sinful reactions. That's Krishna speaks in 2.23. And he says that even if you choose to perform prescribed duties, there is no loss. In winning or losing, you will enjoy in either case. Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. BG 2.38 to 2.53. Find out fight, where Krishna is now explaining that fight without any reactions. Now, again, a switching has happened. Krishna begin his instruction by saying, Swadharma karo. Aapka swadharma hai, aap kshatriya ho. So even if you think you are a body, act with that knowledge of body. And perform your prescribed duties as a kshatriya. So that you can do, if you fight in that knowledge, then you will not get any reactions. Why? Because Krishna speaks in a beautiful verse, which we'll study later, but there is a way in which you can act, a nishkam karma yoga. If you act only for the performance of your duties, without any kamana, without any desire to gain victory, to get revenge, without any desires, when you fight only for the sake of fighting, you will not get any reactions. So Prabhupada has explained this entire section from a devotional perspective. If you read the verses and the purports written by Srila Prabhupada, you will get a message which is the devotional service. Prabhupada talks about devotional service throughout this section. And the reason for that is, even though the literal meaning of these verses may not indicate in all circumstances devotional service, but Prabhupada does not want us to trip from the right path. Just like Krishna is worried about us drifting, Arjuna's drifting from the right path, Prabhupada is also worried that we should not get lost in the word jugglery and we should not lose the correct perspective. And therefore, he has explained all these verses from the devotional point of view, which is devotional service. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate recommendation given by Krishna to Arjuna. Krishna speaks in the 8th chapter that Ananya Chetaha Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityashaha Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nityaktasya Yogina. This Bhakti Yoga is very sulabha, very simple. So he's recommending Bhakti Yoga and he does not want anybody to get drifted from that path. So that's why all these explanations, all these purports, Prabhupada writes in from the Bhakti point of view. Athachetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsasi. That Krishna is saying in the 33rd verse that you will, if you don't perform your religious duty of fighting as a Kshatriya, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and lose your reputation as a fighter. So, sin bhi milega or reputation bhi jayega. So, what is the gain? Why you are not fighting? Hatova prapsasi swarga jitva va mokshase mahim tasmat duttishta antaya yuddhaya pratinishya. He's saying there is a swarga. Even if you die, you may get a swarga. Any Kshatriya living his body in the battlefield, fighting for the righteous cause, will get swarga. And even if you don't get swarga, if you win, then you will stay alive, and then you can enjoy the kingdom. So there is no loss. The fighting should be done. Now, therefore, get up with determination and fight. Tasmad uttishta panteya yuddhaya kriti nishchaya. But immediately Krishna is switching gear. 38th verse, Krishna, in the 38th verse, Krishna is saying, Sukha dukha samay krutva labha labho jaya jaya tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avasasi. That fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. 40th verse, beautiful verse. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swa alpamasya iti dharmasya trayate mahatubhavat. He's saying, if in this endeavor, in this bhakti endeavor, there is no loss or diminution or little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So in the picture you see Gajendra. Gajendra was fighting a battle with the crocodile in the Trikuta Parvata region lake, and he saw him. The battle went on for thousands of years, and then he saw himself becoming weaker. And then, by mercy of Krishna, he remembered his past life. He was King Indradimna, and then that time he had composed beautiful prayers for Lord Hari, and immediately he recited those prayers. And Lord Hari personally appeared and he kills the neck of that crocodile and releases Gajendra, saved Gajendra's life. So the bhakti was performed in the previous life. In the Gajendra's life, he had not done any bhakti, but in the most dangerous moment of his life, he remembered his past life. And then he remembered those prayers. And in response to those prayers, Lord Hari, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna personally appeared and saved himself. Vyavasayit Mahabuddhir Ekeha Kurunandana Bahushakha Yanantascha Buddhaya Vyavasayana. Those who are on this path of Bhakti Yoga, are resolute in purpose. And their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branch. Now, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is not recommending Monday iska bhakti karo, Tuesday iska karo, Wednesday, Thursday iska karo, Saturday, Sunday इसका करो. He's saying व्यावसायिक महाबुद्धि. Let there be single object of your bhakti and single-minded focus. With single-minded focus only you should perform bhakti. If you are bahushakha, multi-branch, many branch, then that you will not give you any benefit. So you should have a single-minded focus. Imagine Olympics are going on. Any Olympian winning medal, he has to give up. He has to do so many sacrifices. Because he's been able to do all the sacrifices, he's able to concentrate on the sports of his choice with single-minded focus, and he's been able to get mastery in that particular skill, and he's been able to win the medal. Had he been doing multiple things, and he's not compromising, he's not sacrificing those things which his friends must be doing, his relatives must be doing, his family must be doing, he will not be able to win medals. He will not be able to achieve success in material life also. And so that is the case with material life. What to speak of spiritual life? We need single-minded focus. भोगेश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया अपहरत चेतसां व्यावसायिक बुद्धि समाधो न विधेयते. We'll see how this is relevant to us also. But it's good to know that these are the most beautiful instructions Krishna has given. And we can discuss these verses for hours with examples, with our personal examples or group general examples. But considering the time constraint, we are just rushing through this. It says that in the those who are too attached to the sense enjoyment and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to Supreme Lord does not take place. भोग एंड ऐश्वर्य, इफ हमारी अगर इसमें आसक्ति है और ये सब हमें अचंभित करता है, bewildered करता है, we get desire to have all this, then for such a person will not be able to perform devotional service with resolution, with single-minded focus that is required. We can imagine if you have lust, anger, greed, if you are running behind money, then bhakti will become the last option for you. We have about 350 plus devotees in our group. Only 100 odd are present right now. 105 are present right now. Why? Because most of us are distracted. These are the distractions, and some of these distractions we may justify ourselves कि ये करना चाहिए. However, we will understand as we study Bhagavad Gita progressively that करना चाहिए बराबर है, but there is bhakti भी करनी चाहिए. Without bhakti, if you do only this, what's the use? What's the purpose? So this brings us to another beautiful verse that you are not the only doer. Karmanye va adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate samgosva akarmani. That you have a right to perform duty. Many of us think that we have a right to receive fruit. But Krishna says otherwise. Krishna says that you have a right to perform your duty, prescribed. अगर आप family man हो, then taking care of your family is your prescribed duty. If you are a student, then studying is your prescribed duty. If you are a housewife, then taking care of household is your prescribed duty. When you go to office, doing your office work becomes your prescribed duty. When you are a father, taking care of your children, making them Krishna conscious is your prescribed duty. But Krishna says, Ma phaleshu kadachana, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Why? अगर मैं काम कर रहा हूं तो मैं पगार की अपेक्षा क्यों नहीं करूंगा? वो तो मेरा right है. So Krishna says, never consider yourself the cause of the results that your activities, because you are not the only doer. So you are doing your work. However, if you were not to be given the result of your activities, the fruit अगर आपके कर्मा में नहीं है तो आपको नहीं मिलेगा. No matter how hard you or how efficiently you do your work. Why? Because never consider yourself the cause of result of your activities. तो cause अगर मैं नहीं हूँ तो और कौन है? Krishna says, I am also the cause. So you are doing your work and Krishna is doing his work, and collectively you are getting a result. Collectively we are getting a result. So my single single effort, single-handedly, I'm not able to earn anything for me. Unless there is a sanction by Krishna, I cannot get things, whatever I'm supposed to get. So if I may work hard for my job, on my job, but if Krishna's sanction is not there, my company may become may get bankrupt at the end on the 30th of the month and may not get my salary. We have overnight situations where suddenly a news come that so and so bank became bankrupt, so and so company became declared bankruptcy, and suddenly everything, all those people who have worked hard for 29 days, on 30th day they come to know that they cannot get their salary. Sanction is not there. Krishna says, I'm also the doer. You are not the only doer, I am also the doer. But knowing this, you should never be attached to not doing your duty. It means inactivity is not allowed. So if you see the first box and the fourth box, you have a right to perform duty and inactivity is not allowed. Which means we must remain engaged in activities, whatever be at our prescribed duty, whichever ashram we may belong to, we must do our duty. The work has to be done, and but it has to be done without attachment to the result. Why? Because our results have contributions coming from Krishna. He may negate our activity and give us a zero result, or he may increase our activity and give us result more than what we wanted. Whatever Krishna may do, Krishna is free to do whatever he wants to do. And therefore, we cannot question him. And hence, we should better not remain attached to the fruits. We'll see the practical application of this knowledge as well. Question that arises is, who determines our rewards and on what basis? Is it arbitrary or there is some law governing this? When in this world, everything is in order, functioning so systematically, how can happiness distress allocation be arbitrary? How can allocation of happiness and distress be arbitrary? Some of us, all of us, have certain good, bad, ugly memories and experiences. Now, we may wonder, we may question that I've been a good person reasonably. Why am I getting so bad experiences? What is it that, who is giving this in the first place? And why is he giving me those bad experiences? I have done nothing wrong. So these are the questions that should bring us to the to Bhagavad Gita. And when we don't get prima facie answer, we go deeper. Let's take an example of a cricket match. We have a lot to cover, so let me run through very quickly. Cricket match, one team start batting with 0 runs on the board, and second team start batting with 200 runs on the board. Now the questions can be, why there is a bias? Is scorer bias? Is it a matter of chance that scorer thought of putting 200 there, therefore he is putting 200 when the second team came for batting? Or is scorer bias? Is he being bribed by somebody and that's why he's giving them 200 runs before even they played a ball? So what is really happening? There could be a third explanation. Third explanation can be, maybe the team who started batting with a 0 were batting for the first time, and the team now who started batting now with 200 runs on the board must have batted well in their first inning, and this could be their second inning. Now, this third explanation makes sense that, okay, in the first inning, they scored, say, 400 runs. Then, so they also started in the first inning, they also started on a 0 and scored 400 runs. The second team also started with 0, scored only 200 runs. Now, the first team has a lead of 200. And therefore, when the second time they come to bat, they start with 200 runs on the board. Not because it is by chance the scorer thought of giving them 200 number. It is not that the scorer has been biased. Scorer has been bribed by somebody to put up 200 over there. But it is happening with law, according to the law, according to the rules of the game, which are known to both the parties, both the teams. And hence, this is a third explanation, help us make sense of the situation. Now relate this with our life. law of karma help us make sense of our current situation in the world in general. It is not by chance that we have diversity in the world. Some are rich, some are poor, some are healthy, some are diseased, some are beautiful, some are ugly, some are intelligent, some are dumb, some are gifted with talent, have no such gift, no such talents. Now, why is there a variety? Why is there a distinction? If it's a why don't everyone get the same start? Because we are born with these qualities, we should accept that they are allotted to us basis of a past karma. So past karma decides our present life, and present karma will decide our future life. Benefits of Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. No reactions. Arjuna is saying that karmashu kaushalyam, yoga karmasu kaushalyam. No reactions and freedom from cycle of birth and death. Now, this is a concept that he has introduced for the first time in Bhagavad Gita in the text 51, where he says that Padam Gacchantya Anamayam, that Munishena, those who are great souls, they follow examples of the previous devotees, and they also attain the Padam Gacchantya Anamayam. They also attain the freedom from cycle of birth and death. Now, this concept will come repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita. Again, this is a speciality. No other scriptures speak about reincarnation and repeated cycle of birth and death the way Bhagavad Gita speaks. Because our Bhagavad Gita can be understood to be graduation study, and other scriptures can be understood to be 5th standard study. Now, if somebody is doing BSc with mathematics and somebody is studying mathematics in 5th standard, they both are studying mathematics. However, concepts which will be present in the BSc mathematics book will be missing in the 5th standard mathematics book. And that's why our Sanatan Dharma, Hindu religion so-called, is far, far superior than the other religions. So it's not because other religions don't make things easy. The things which are given to them are according to their ability to understand and practice dharma. And but as the student progresses, as we become progressive, we gain higher spiritual knowledge, we should not be solving the same problems which we solved in the 5th standard. We should be given better concepts, higher concepts, and higher knowledge. And that's why the Bhagavad Gita text has superior knowledge than the knowledge available in all other scriptures. Krishna says that fixed in intelligence and trance, samadva achala buddhi, samadva achala buddhi. Now, this is what one will achieve. Now, Arjuna becomes very attracted towards that. Fixed mind, fixed intelligence, and trance. Trance means happiness. How will I get it? Over Krishna, he asks question by way of a verse. And the 54th verse, Arjuna actually asks a question. Now, this is not a subtle question, he explicit question. Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. Now, what is Krishna? What is it that Arjuna is asking? He's asking Sthita Prajna, ye jo banda hai, Sthita Prajna, that he's been described by Krishna. That after doing all this, that who is doing, so we've seen the progression, we've seen so far that Krishna introduces concept of soul to Arjuna, but doesn't say that this knowledge about soul is required but not sufficient. Why? Because as long as you're in the body, you have to perform your duties. Now, if you're in the Indian body, you have to act according to the laws of India. If you're in American body, then you have to follow the American laws. So, as whichever body you are given, you have to act according to the urges of your body. Now, that you can do at 3 levels. While acting, you can do sinful activities or you can do religious activities. But you can act religiously for the purpose of your sense gratification. So Krishna says better than that is acting for the purpose of purification, and better than that is acting for the giving pleasure to the Supreme Lord. So now this progression is seen from the verses in the second section, from 30th, 31 verse till 53rd verse that we have concluded. Now this when you start working for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, you become your intelligence become fixed and you experience bliss. You experience samadhi. Samadhi is continuous bliss you experience when you work to give pleasure to Krishna, pleasure to Supreme to God. Now Arjuna is very attracted by this concept and he says that this Sthita Prajna Muni, this is a Sthita Prajna Muni. What is his, how does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Now these are, these are not to be taken literally. Now Arjuna is asking a question and these four questions that he has asked has deeper meaning. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be understood from devotees, because if we only figure out that how to sit and how to speak and how to walk and how to conduct ourselves, our meaning will be lost. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be learned from devotees who have heard it from another devotees. It's not self-manufactured knowledge. Atmaram, this is the last section of our topic for today. Atmaram by literally means one who is self-satisfied, one who is satisfied within himself. Sthita Pragya is self-realized person. This is broken into four sections again. Ka bhasha, how we speak. That's general symptoms. That means what are the general symptoms of such a Sthita Prajna that are described in the 55th verse of second chapter. Kim prabhasheta, how does he speak? On receiving praise or blame, affection or hate, what will he say internally and externally? So that is what means by what is his language? How does he speak and what is his language? How he will respond. So that is explained in 56th and 57th verse. Kim asita, how does he sit? Sit is this question is in connection with the controlling his senses and from the sense object. So there are senses and then there are tempting sense object. Now, how this Sthita Prajna Muni control his senses from the sense object? How does he regulate them? That is 58 to 63. And Vrajeta Kim, how does he walk? Means, how does he respond to the sense object while functioning in this material world, which is full with temptations? Look at few verses. Prajahati yada kaman sarva partha manovatan atmanyev atmanatushtaha sthita prajna tuduchyate. That, oh Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, he is said to be in the pure transcendental. So we have spoken about the first general symptoms. These are general symptoms that sarvam partha manogatan. He does not entertain manogata. Whatever the mind desires, mind produces, his control, regulating them. He does not try to fulfill each of those desires. Do we do that? We don't do that. That's why we have to learn Bhagavad Gita. Next section is Kim Prabhasheta. How does he speak? On receiving praise and blame, affection or hate, how is he able to maintain equilibrium? So when somebody praises us, when we become happy, why should we not become happy? And how should we not become happy? Dukheshu anudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthitadhir. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness. One who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called sage of steady mind. We are talking about the 56 and 57 verse, where Krishna is speaking that how this Muni, how this Sthita Prajna respond to praise or blame, happiness or distress, love or hate, and that is explained. And he is able to tolerate both. Then, how does he sit? Is explained in the series of verses. How does he restrain his senses from the sense object? So Krishna is like a teacher of sense regulation, self-regulation. And Krishna is now speaking series of verses from 58 onwards about how to regulate, how to restrain senses from the sense object. 58, he says, that one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object as tortoise draw its limbs from shell. So what tortoise, when it's roaming around, the moment tortoise sense some danger, it pulls all its senses inside the shell and try to protect himself. Similarly, he says, this Titapradya Muni, he does not let his senses roam freely and get caught by the sense object because he regulates them. He controls them just like a tortoise will control his senses and protect his senses. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasapyasya param drashtvani vartate. Though the embodied soul, now the Vishaya vinivartante means one is, though the soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the test for sense object remains. There could be restrictions in the previous verse which we have seen, that tortoise, just like a tortoise, withdraw its senses and draw it inside the shell. Similarly, Sitapradya Muni will try to withdraw his senses from the sense object. The moment he sees some wrong object, he turns his eye away. If he sees something wrong appearing in the phone, he closes the program. Not that he explore it further. So, but that taste is still there. What to do with that? No, it's not easy to get rid of that taste because we have experienced it in past. We have had past experiences when we have enjoyed those things. But today, with knowledge, we are understanding that we should not be indulging in those things. They cause impurities, and they will. I'll not be able to act for the pleasure of Krishna if I continue to indulge in those activities. So therefore, I will give up those activities. But my taste has not gone. How that rectification happens? Krishna says that happens when you experience higher taste. You are then easily able to give up lower taste and become fixed in the consciousness. Higher taste, lower taste. How do we understand? Simple. When you get a job which is giving you 50,000 rupees, you no more have a taste to do a job which was earlier giving you 10,000. But when you had no job, even this 10,000 job was very precious for you. But now you've got a job of which is giving you 50,000 rupees. You no longer crave for the job of that was giving you 10,000 rupees. This is in a gross way, not exact way, but very simple way to understand that how once we get a higher taste, we are able to give up lower taste. How we start tasting prasad, which is food offered to Krishna, we are able to give up our lower taste of eating meat, and which is dead body cooked with some oil and masala. That's all. So, but that how we are easily able to give up that habit. That can be this is the example of that. यततो यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इंद्रियाणि प्रमाथिनि हरन्ति प्रसभं Indriya can kidnap. Haranti means kidnap. Prasabham manaha. That forcibly can kidnap mind of a person who is trying to control regulate his senses. When that can happen? If you roam, if you allow any one senses to roam around freely also, it can cause such a disaster that they can carry away mind of a person who is with knowledge trying to regulate his senses. So senses are extremely dangerous. They can impact your mind. So there is an order. There's a dead objects. Then there are senses. Then there is a mind, and there is intelligence, and then there is a soul. And the soul is on the top. Soul is supposed to control intelligence, to control mind, so that the senses don't roam freely in the wrong directions. My eyes don't go and see wrong things. My hand does not go in the wrong direction and do wrong things, so and so forth. So that's the regulation that I need to bring. And my senses can be controlled by my mind, and my mind can be controlled by my intelligence when my intelligence is controlled by my soul. But here the Krishna is saying that if you're lethargic, if you're lazy, if you're careless, then the order can get topside down. The senses can kidnap a mind, and that mind can bewilder intelligence, and then soul is forced to drag behind mind and intelligence. How to regulate? Krishna gives example that Ambarish Maharaj regulated, controlled all his senses by engaging them in his service. Similarly, one who restrains senses, keeping them under full control and fixes consciousness upon Krishna, he is able to easily regulate the senses. The sense regulation is also not easy. But Krishna says that is done easily when you take my help, when you attach your senses to me, engage your senses in serving me. So there is a urge to speak my glories, chant my mantra, sing in my kirtan. When your tongue has a desire to eat my prasad. Then the leg has a desire to go and meet somebody, go and meet devotees, go and visit temples, go and visit dham. When you want to smell something, smell flowers which are offered to Lord, and then that is prasad. So when you want to see something, see beautiful form of the Lord, see devotees, see dham, and that way you will be purified and you will not get affected by the material world, the wrongs in the material world. Another two sets of beautiful verses. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगत संजयाते कामा कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So the 8-step process of our downfall, starting with contemplating on the sense object, ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः, ध्यान करना विषय का, and then developing attachment for the same. Attachment converts into lust. Uncontrolled lust means uncontrolled desire to enjoy. If lust is not fulfilled, anger arises, and with anger, delusion arises. And delusion means not able to decide right and wrong, loss of memory, of forgetfulness, of even reference points, seeking right and advice. So, Shruti, Smriti, and Shruti are called scriptures. There are Shruti scriptures and Smriti scriptures, and Smriti is what we have learned from the scriptures. There's a forgetfulness that happens, that overpowers. There's our desire overpower our knowledge also, and loss of intelligence that results into loss of intelligence and then complete fall down. Classic case that of Ajamil. He saw a prostitute embracing her lover in jungle. He had gone to jungle not to watch the show. He never went to theater to watch the show. But he went to jungle to collect wood for the yagya. He was a brahmana. And for collecting wood, he went inside the jungle and he saw a prostitute embracing her lover in loneliness. And then he applied all his knowledge and all his intelligence and bringing all his shastric knowledge, but he was unable to control himself, and a desire overpower his intelligence, his mind and intelligence both, and then he got married to that prostitute and produces children. So, and that leads to complete fall down. He removes his parents from the home. He asks his wife to leave him, and then he starts living in his home with this prostitute and the children from this prostitute. And he starts earning money by dacoity, killing people and doing all kind of nonsense things. And it results into complete fall down. Krishna speaks further that a person free from all attachment and aversions and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Who can get mercy of the Lord? Person who is ragadvesha vimuktestu vishayan indriyash charan Atma Vaishya Vidheyatma Prasadamati Gachati. Now, that person who has been able to follow through regulative principles of freedom is able to become free from attachment and aversions and is able to control senses. These two qualifications are given, and by following the regulative principles of freedom. If there are regulation, how can they become? If they are regulative, then how can they be free? How can they give me freedom? Just like there are regulation on traffic on the road, and by those regulations, we are supposed to drive. We are supposed to in India. We are supposed to drive from the left-hand side and stop at wherever we see red signal and so on and so forth. So because these regulations are there, we can freely move or car and reach home safely. Had this regulation not been there, it could have become a chaos on the street. So this is regulatory principles of freedom. These regulations are required for our freedom. And because these regulations are there, we are free. इंद्रियाणाम ही चर्ता यन्मनो विधेयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञा वायु नावमिवामसि हरति प्रज्ञा पहले देखा था हरति mind is kidnapped. Now the even the prajna means intelligence can also be kidnapped. That wind, just like wind sweep away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming sense on which mind focuses can carry away mind's intelligence. Another beautiful verse, Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sayami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyata Mune. So the activities of a spiritualist, a devotee and a non-devotee are opposite. What is night for a devotee is day for a non-devotee, and what is day for a devotee will be night for a non-devotee. The activities which a devotee will relish doing, a non-devotee will not consider doing at all. And the activities which a non-devotee is doing, a devotee should restrain himself from doing. Apuryamana machalam pratishtham samudra mapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kaman sa pravishanti sarve sa shantam apnoti na kama kami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enters like rivers into ocean, which is ever being filled but still always remains still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desire. Kamakami means no kamakami means the person kamakami means the person is trying to satisfy all his desires. Apuryamana achalam pratishtha. Achala means samudram apaha pravishanti sadvat. So just like not every desire that comes to our mind we act upon. We choose desires to act and desires to ignore. So if you are a working professional, you may get 10 calls in a week saying that आप सर होम लोन ले लो, सर क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लो, सर बैंक अकाउंट खोलो, ये करो, वो करो, इसमें इन्वेस्ट करो, ये पाओगे, इसमें इन्वेस्ट करो, वो मिलेगा. But we don't act on each of every such request that come to us. Similarly, each and every desire, even though it is entering into our mind, you can't stop mind producing desires. You can do that later, but at initial stage, it's difficult to stop mind from its functioning. And so mind will not stop acting, but you need to control, you need to regulate and say that I don't want to act. And with determination, when you say, then mind will eventually stop producing those desires. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Papya Vimuyati Sthitasva Stitasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Vrichati. Here Krishna is talking about for the first time Brahma Nirvana. There's a place to visit where you can go after giving up this body. Is not explicitly spoken here, but that he will reveal later. But Prabhupada writes that in this way, spiritual and godly life, you will live a spiritual and godly life, attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. What does it mean for me? A devotee of Lord Krishna and a non-devotee, how do they act using this knowledge which we heard from 55 to 72? A devotee understands the role of their actions and past karma in the results that they get. So they stay humble in success and tolerant in future failure. Tolerant in failure. A devotee will understand that the fruits of the reaction, the fruits that they are getting is not only the result of their own actions. There are past actions involved, current actions are involved, past actions are involved, and mercy from Lord is also involved. There is a fruit that is Krishna is also allotting to me. So even if Krishna can allot me a fruit which I may think I may give to myself, but Krishna can negate it. So Krishna may give 0. I may give 100 marks to myself, Krishna can give 0, and the end result is Krishna's mark. Whatever Krishna says, that remains. That approves, he doesn't approve, then I get 0 accordingly. So a devotee understands this through knowledge. A non-devotee consider themselves as the doers, hence experience pride in success and depression in failure. Now, all of us would have experienced this. We feel elated, we feel very proud of ourselves whenever we have achieved. Now, we must understand a devotee, if you were to be a devotee at that time, you would have understood that, okay, I had done my part, but Krishna has given his sanction also. And as a combined effort of my hard work and Krishna's sanction, we've got the result what that we have given. So there is nothing for me to feel overly happy. I should be glad that I could do something. But apart from that, I no need for me to be overly happy and no question of becoming proud. And the same is the case when I don't get what I want. Whenever there is a so-called failure, I don't have to get depressed because I should understand that Krishna has allotted that fruit to me. And because right now probably I'm not supposed to get I'm not supposed to get the success or the desired fruit. Maybe at some later stage Krishna may give me that. Maybe Krishna want to give me bigger fruit than what I'm seeking right now. Whatever could be the reason, but a devotee understand that. Therefore, he tolerate the failure and stay humble in success. A non-devotee feel proud in success and depressed in failure because he blamed himself for the failure. A devotee will always know the role of Krishna in our activities. So a devotee, next point is devotee remains steady in happiness and distress and remain free from attachment, fear, and anger. Why? Because again, the same reason. Happiness and distress both are temporary. Both will come when Krishna wants them to come. And both will stop coming. And if I'm happy today, this will change. If I'm sad today, even this will change. And so what will not change is my ability to remain calm in both the situations. If I can attain that, knowing who is causing this happiness and distress for me, then I will not be unnecessarily bewildered by that. So non-devotee, on the other hand, hanker for more success. So they become greedy when they become successful. And when that does not come by, they lament. So hankering and lamentation, these are associated with the non-devotees. So it's not a question of when, it's a question of it's not a question of if they will lament. Everyone will lament. When, it's only a question of when they will lament. Third point which we see, devotees experience higher taste and hence are easily able to give up lower taste for sense enjoyment. How can we get rid of our habits today? By experiencing higher taste of Krishna consciousness, by experiencing higher tasting Krishna, who is the supreme object. We are able to give up lower taste when we chant his name. Purify, it not only purify us, but it also help us, change our taste, change our options, change our values. So that way we get a higher taste and we give up lower taste. And because we don't have, for a non-devotee, there's no they don't have access to the higher taste because they're not performing devotional service. They are hooked to the sense object for getting some pleasure. It gives some pleasure, but they have no other choice. They are like beggars are not choosers. So since they don't have higher taste, they are forced to work on getting lower taste. And therefore they must keep doing wrong activities which give bondage, which creates bondage for them time and again. Last point is devotee understand and respect the power of senses, mind, and intelligence. Hence, engage them in devotional service. King Ambrisha. A lack of knowledge of importance of sense control force non-devotees to become like servants of senses. That's like Godasa. We'll do a quick summary. Guru is must. We must seek guidance from a bona fide guru who is in parampara, who can advise basis Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, not on his own sweet will. We must get convinced that we are spirit soul and we are not this body. Later, Krishna will teach us that we are separate particles from Krishna. So we have intimate relationship with Krishna also. So it's not a dry knowledge that we are spirit soul. We are connected with Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. And we were serving Krishna earlier in the spiritual world. But by some mistake, we have come to this material world. and serving our senses over here. We can change this by in this world itself. Now, knowing that we are soul does not mean we have nothing to do. We need to continue to live in this body and function in the material world. Our reactions can be broadly classified as our actions can be broadly classified as adharmic, dharmic, karma kanda, buddhi yoga, dhyana yoga, and dhyana yoga and bhakti yoga level. Becoming equipoised in happiness, distress, love, hate, praise, and insult by progressing in bhakti yoga, we can attain peace, satisfaction, and happiness. If we can maintain the same position at the time of our death, we can attain Krishna also. Last slide. The facility for hearing and chanting. We conduct japa session in the morning and a reading session in the evening. Reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And we do come together on Zoom platform and perform japa. So I'll be sending this slide to everyone. Everyone is requested to join japa every day. And also this join evening sessions for reading from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita every day. So this is how we begin our process of hearing and chanting, the process of our purification, bhajana kriya. And by performing this bhajana kriya, we will be able to purify ourselves and eventually start performing devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna. So, as we purify ourselves, all our anarthas start leaving us. Lust, anger, greed, hate, and fear, everything. We become free from all that. We become fixed in intelligence. Our intelligence become fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that way we are able to love and serve Krishna going forward. We'll pause here for some time for some question and answer. I know we started with about 120 devotees, 25 devotees. We are now left with 87 devotees. We had a long session. My apologies for the same. So, Nupur Mataji will circulate Google link. Please feel free to fill the same. And Nupur Mataji, you can post it on the group also. Many people would have left. They can also get a chance to fill the question and quiz. So I'll just pause and see if there are any questions. Just unmute. So there are some questions. I'll take a look at it. How does understanding the eternal nature of soul help in overcoming grief and confusion? Yes. So, how does the nature of the soul? You need to go to the root of the problem, the cause of grief and confusion. Grief comes when we don't get what we are supposed to get, what we think we should get. Now that can become a subject matter of grief. We may want a subject, we may want something, and when that does not come to us, we don't get what we want. We experience grief. We want one of our loved ones to stay with us, but when they depart, we experience grief. So there are various ways in which we experience grief, and at the root of which, for example, we want our loved ones to stay with us forever. But we experience that old people leave their bodies eventually, they fall sick, they become old, they fall sick, and the day comes when they leave their body. So can this be stopped? No, it can't be stopped, and it's not supposed to be stopped as well. What should then happen is, we should utilize our life for living our life in such a way that we escape from the cycle of repeated birth. And we can do that. We can do the same thing with our loved ones also. That don't live life just to eat, sleep, mate with opposite sex, and defend yourself. This is how animals live life as well. Live life in such a way that you don't have to take birth again by performing devotional service to Krishna. So this is difference between animal and a human. So when we understand our true nature, that our spiritual nature, we should not be surprised that a person is living body. We should not feel grief. We should not feel sorry for them. We should feel sorry for a person who is living life without following principles of devotional service, without cultivating love and service attitude towards Krishna. For them, we should feel grief. We should feel grief if we are living life in that way, because that way we are guaranteed to come back again in the material world. We cannot escape this cycle of repeated birth. So that is greatest disservice we are doing to ourselves and to our loved ones. Confusion also we can discuss in a separate way, but that way we can understand that at the root of everything, when you connect everything with the concept of soul, you will understand that confusion shouldn't be there. Why we get confused? Why we become confused? Because we don't know what is lower and higher duties. Who decides them? Scriptures decide them. So because we don't know scriptures, today we are confused about our duties. A soldier is also a son of somebody. As a son, his duty is to take care of his parents. But when the same soldier is posted on border and he's unable to look after his parents when they fall sick, that same soldier is glorified. Why? Because he is doing a duty which is higher than, so both are his duty. As a son, he has a duty. As a soldier, he has a duty to protect the nation. And when he's doing first the duty of protecting the nation, he is unable to do the lower duties. So there are higher and lower duties. And one has to understand through scriptures, basis scripture, we should understand what is higher and lower. And if we do that, we should be able to deal with the confusion. And if not, please speak with us and we can help you do that. Yeah, please explain rebirth of soul and karma. Yeah, please send me a message and we can have a call. We can. I hope you have my number. My name is Mahapatiram Das. I just typed my number. So this is a WhatsApp number. You can send me a message. We can get connected and we can probably discuss this a little bit more, because we discuss the concept of rebirth and karma for a considerable length of time. I don't know whether you missed it, but we can discuss again if you want. We can explain this concept again to you, so that you become clear about this. Detachment and renunciation as per this chapter. So detachment and renunciation. So this chapter, so the next chapter begins by by the question that Arjuna will ask, that what should, basically, if I have to become a Sthita Prajna, Arjuna is thinking that then probably I don't have to fight a battle. I don't have to fight a battle. So I will renounce my work. Detachment and renunciation. The detachment is opposite of attachment, obviously, but when you fight, what is Krishna telling Arjuna to do is not to become attached to the relatives, become detached. So if as a matter of duty, as a matter of performing your prescribed duty of a Kshatriya, even if you have to kill your relatives, you should not be hesitant to do that, because you are a Kshatriya, because you have adhikar to do. So to that extent, you have to detach. renunciation, Arjuna is running away. Arjuna was running away from the war, thinking that I don't want kingdom. I don't want kingdom, and using this this argument, he was running away from prescribed duty of Kshatriya, so which Krishna prevents him from doing. So this is how this chapter deals with detachment and renunciation. How can one practice karma yoga in daily life according to the principles are laid out here? So principles are laid out here, are explained by Prabhupada from a devotional way, in a devotional way. Karma yoga, Nishkam karma yoga in its pure form is extremely difficult to be performed. So what Prabhupada has provided facility to us is to perform karma work for the pleasure of Krishna. When you work, when you don't work, Nishkam means no kamana at all. When you are cooking, for example, your Nishkam cooking will not care if the chapatis or puris are properly fried or not fried, or baked or not baked, or burn or not burn. Nishkam. They're just doing the duty for the sake of doing duty. But Sakam, when you're cooking prasad for offering it to Lord, you want puris to be best puris in the world. You want chapatis also to be the best chapatis in the world. Now this is a Sakam. Why? Because there is a object of love for whom you're preparing this preparation. The cooking is done for offering it to the Lord. So then you definitely want the best cooking in this whole universe to take place, so that you can offer it to God, or you can offer it to Lord for His pleasure. So pure karma yoga in its pure way practically cannot be practiced, and that's not recommended also. But actions performed in devotion, with devotion, uh, leads to purification and leads to pleasing of the personality of Godhead, and therefore they are they can burn our past karmic reactions, and they stop. First of all, they don't give any reactions, and they can also help us burn our past reactions. So that's why they are completely beneficial in all respects. Just checking if there are any other sessions, any other questions. If soul is changing body constantly, it has previous life, a current life, a future life, then everyone in case of reincarnation, why are only certain cases considered as reconcilable? Because they remember the previous life and others don't. If for working for, okay, first question is why only few people can remember their past life, and why everyone don't remember. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, says that everyone remembers their past life. And everyone remembers what all mistakes that they did in their past life while they are in the womb of your mother. Now, the birth and the death are such events that so much trauma is experienced by the soul during these events, that they act to erase the memory, cover our memories. And that's why not every child, when it is born, when it is thrown out of the womb of his mother, will have that remembrance. The moment they are born, they are crying, they are being given comfort by the people around them. The moment that happens, the moment they get attention, and from that moment onwards, their remembrance get covered mostly. Now they know that they have to cry in order to get attention, in order to get what they want. So all their focus, this is Maya. This is Maya thinking that by crying they can get what they want. Now they get into the domain of Maya and their previous birth's knowledge gets covered. What to speak of previous birth's knowledge? We don't even remember our current life completely. A lot of us has problem remembering what I ate for lunch last Sunday, same time. So the Krishna gives remembrance and Krishna gives forgetfulness both. Why he gives forgetfulness? So that we can function currently in our current body properly. If we were to be given, everyone to be given remembrance of all our past lives, our life could have become messy. Current life would have become messy. Because current life, you would be searching for parents from last time, enemies from last life, your spouse from last life, and children from last life. And then your current life will completely go into mess. So that way, it becomes your in order, and that defeats the whole purpose for which a soul is given a body. A soul has desires, unfulfilled desires. To fulfill those desires, they need a body, they need senses, they need to experience something. And for that reason, we are given body according to our karma and our desires. And that the purpose get defeated if everyone is given past life memories, because then you will simply not able to function in your current body. So in order for that to happen, functioning of current body to happen, your memories are covered. They are never erased. They can be retrieved through regression theories, systematic regression theories. You can actually go into your past life and retrieve those. So they are never erased, but they are covered. But their layer is so thick that we don't. The many people don't get access to those memories, and that is why they are able to live peacefully in their current body and with their current families, with their current parents and current spouses. So that is the reason. But yes, some exceptional cases can have memories from, and we can see those exceptional cases like the pilot who left his body during a plane crash, plane hit by a missile. Now that's not an ordinary death. It's very chaotic, very traumatic death. A woman who left her body during childbirth, pregnancy, it's not easy, and should have suffered a lot, and finally might have left her body and then the child was born, but the mother left her body. So it's a very extremely traumatic death, and many such incidences, people lead to the reincarnation, where children, when they get a new body, they are able to recall those traumatic events and incidences. They have phobia, they have birthmarks, they have many bodily features also which signifies their previous life. But as I said, to enable them to function correctly in their present life, those are covered from time to time. So that is working for the pleasure of Krishna. Just a minute. Working for the pleasure of Krishna is the only duty of a soul, and everything ultimately. Just a minute. Everything ultimately leads to that by purification. Then how do we arrive at that understanding? How can we know if we are satisfying our senses even in a subtle way or for Krishna's pleasure? Working for ourselves or working for Krishna? How do we differentiate when we are working for Krishna and when we are working for our own sense gratification? Yeah, that's a nice question. So as long as we work, that's why we have senior devotees and for our guidance. When a devotee, somebody may be fond of eating dosa, and they may cook dosa every day and offer dosa to Krishna and eat it as prasad. are we doing really our own sense gratification, or it is for the pleasure of Krishna? One principle is we should always eat food that is offered to Krishna. To that extent, there is a compliance, as so we may say, that dosa is prepared, but dosa is offered to first Krishna and then taken it as a prasad. To that extent, we are okay. But do you think only Krishna wants dosa to eat every day? Does he really want something else? So if you have a guide, if you have a senior devotee with whom you are sharing your Krishna consciousness, when they come to know that every day you're offering dosa to Krishna, they will become worried. I said, no, you should offer variety to Krishna. So why only offering dosa to Krishna every day? Will you not get bored? He said, I don't get bored, but it's not about you. It's about Krishna. So Krishna shouldn't get bored. So offer everything to Krishna, offer variety to Krishna. When we cook chapan bhog, our senior devotees will ask us many questions. What is there for drinking? What is there to drink? What kind of soups are there? What kind of sharbats are there? What is dry snacks are there? What are sweets are there? It's not that you only prepare 56 items of sweet and feeding. No, you need a proper plate. You need rice items, you need roti items, you need fried items, you need sabzi items, you need all kind of items, all 4 kind of foodstuffs should be there in proper proportions, and that's how it should become a chappan bhog. Just don't create chappan sweets and feed it with chappan type of sweets. You need a proper plate, and that's how they guide. They tell us. So when we have under guidance, we can. Other devotees can figure out what we are doing. Are we satisfying our own senses through but just labeling it as a devotional service, or are we really working for the pleasure of Krishna? So that way, by the guidance of devotees, we can understand that aspect clearly. What is the difference between detachment and renunciation? We discussed that. I don't think we have any questions. Let's see towards the end if we have anything. The transition happens after death to the new body. How transition happens after death to the new body? So transition of soul at what stage previous life memories get erased? That we spoke at the time of giving birth. During birth, we can in the womb we can remember, but at the moment of birth that are covered, and transition happens is explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. Krishna says just like wind picks up aroma from flowers and transfer it. Similarly, soul is picked up from one body and taken to another body. Why can't we see soul? So, but the soul has also go through a process. Soul is picked up from a body, goes through a process which is explained in Garuda Puran, and then in due course of time, it's given another body. That time can lapse from a year or more, depending on the nature of the activities, that colorful activities that soul has performed, and for which it need to suffer. Or but not that every soul goes to hell. Not that every soul will immediately take birth after 1 year. So every soul follow his own journey. It's not a biscuit manufacturing process where every Parle-G biscuit come out goes through the exactly same process. It doesn't happen that way. Why we can't see the soul? We can't see the soul because we don't have spiritual eyes. The spirit can be seen by spiritual objects. We have material eyes which can only see matter. So just like when you have black and white camera, you can't see green color in it because green is not black and white. Simple. So when you have a 1 by 1 inch net and you go for fishing, any fish which is smaller in size will not get caught in it. Why? Because there's no compatibility. So that's why it cannot be caught there. So similarly, soul can be seen by spiritual eyes, which we don't have spiritual vision yet. So if because we don't have, we can't see the soul. not just because it is a small, it is small indeed, but maybe we can develop some advanced microscope with which that small object can also be seen. But no, spiritual object cannot be seen because they are not only small, but they are a different category of atom. They are different, they're not compatible with matter. That's why we cannot see them. So no other questions. So we'll conclude today's session. As I said, this was the longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita, or Adhuri Idhichaye. Please explain it. अधूरी इच्छाएं क्रोध को जन्म देती है, जब इच्छाएं पूरी नहीं होती तो उससे निराशा और क्रोध पैदा होता है. Please explain. Yeah. So adhuri ichha, we can take it with the example of a simple child asking for a chocolate in the car, sitting in a car, and then or Ajamil's example is also a classic example. So when we become attached to a desire, and too much attached to the desire, we become lusty. Lust means when the desire overpowers us. We want desire to be fulfilled in any condition and every condition. That is lust. And when that is not fulfilled, when desire is not fulfilled, so today we may have many desires, but not everything is lust. I may have a desire to go someday and see America. Now, I may go, I may not go during my life, but that does not give me anger. Why am I not able to go to America? Why am I not able to? That I don't think like that. But if I may have a desire to eat lunch after this, and if I'm not given lunch, that may lead to anger. That I'm so much hungry, why am I not given lunch? I'm so much hungry, why am I not eating lunch? Why am I suffering? Why am I hungry? So that not every desire lead to a lust, and not every desire, unfulfilled desire, lead to krodha. And जब क्रोध नहीं and then इससे निराशा होती है and आक्रोश. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह, सम्मोह स्मृति विभ्रशः, स्मृति विभ्रमः. So sammoha is delusion, that you don't understand why it's not happening, and you can't find out and do any action to rectify that. And there you then you forget what is right and what is wrong. What is Smriti? Smriti is जो Smriti Shastra बताते हैं. That is Smriti. The instructions given to us by Shastra is Smriti. What is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done, and what is good, what is bad, what is sinful, what is helpful. So when you forget that, what will happen to a person who is forgotten what is right and what is wrong? They unable to differentiate between right and wrong. वो कुछ भी करेगा अपने इच्छा तृप्ति के लिए, इंद्रिय तृप्ति के लिए वो कुछ भी करेगा. Think of addict. Now addict understand when they are in general sense, they understand that killing somebody is wrong. I should not be hurting anyone else. But when the urge to have drug or alcohol or smoke overpowers them, they can go and kill anybody to get money. If they don't have sufficient money, they can kill someone, get the drug, and then get that. Now, why it's happening? It's happening because their desires are overpowering them completely. So we can discuss that, Mataji, separately if you still have more questions. But with few examples, we can think of this concept. Can we get spiritual eyes to see soul by performing devotional service? We do have spiritual eyes, but currently we use material eyes to see things. So when you close your eyes, right now you all can close your eyes and you can imagine what you did yesterday at same time. Immediately a video will pop up on the screen of your mind. A video that will show you what you were doing. It will show your home, maybe. Yes, yesterday was a Saturday. Or your workplace where you were there. You went to school or you went to college. You are in home. You took lunch with your parents. Whatever. This video is popping up in front of your eyes. Now, whose eyes are seeing the eyes which are seeing are that of a soul. Because your physical eyes are closed. When you're closing your eyes and trying to remember what happened yesterday's lunchtime, now the video which comes in front of your eyes are seen by the eyes of the soul. So the soul present in your body, in our body, has his eyes. But those eyes are his, when he come out, when there are out of body experiences, soul, the physical bodily eyes are closed and body is lying down. When the soul see operation being performed from a height, and so soul also has spiritual eyes, so soul can see. But while in the body, soul is hooked to the body. So soul knows for seeing, it can only see through the material eyes. And that's how we are unable to get the spiritual vision for us. So that way we can get spiritual, we all have spiritual vision. We don't need a separate spiritual vision. But because we are locked up in the inside a body, we need, if at all we need to see a soul, we need to be given the spiritual vision to our material eyes. And that's what happens in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna also tells Arjuna that you, with your current set of eyes, because you're in material body, you will not be able to see my Virata Rupa, universal form. So I will give you special eyes using which you can see that form. And he actually gives those eyes and then see the form of Virata Rupa. Okay, Mataji, thank you so much for all your questions. So don't have any other questions. It's quite late. I'm sorry to hold you all back. About 47 of you. My apologies for holding you back for so long. Thank you so much for that. And I will try and upload this session to anyone who wish to go through. But thank you so much. And next Sunday, we will meet with third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Till then, I wish you all a very happy Krishna conscious week ahead. And we'll meet next Sunday with third chapter. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna
Dandavat
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.